Remember all that hype about AI needing massive supercomputers and just mountains and mountains of data?
Yeah.
Well, this company, DeepSeek, they kind of just like threw a wrench in that whole narrative.
Oh, yeah.
You sent over a ton of articles and analyses on them,
Yeah.
including Professor Damodaran's blog post, even some of his raw notes.
Right.
So clearly, we're trying to figure out what DeepSeek's arrival means for the future of AI.
Right.
Is this a total game changer? Is this a minor blip? Or is this something in between?
I think it's definitely significant.
Okay.
To really understand what DeepSeek is doing, we need to kind of like rewind a little bit and look at the AI landscape before they came on the scene.
Right. So it was all about supercomputing power.
Right.
Think Nvidia.
Yeah.
Paired with these just enormous data sets. The barrier to entry was so high that only mega corporations like Microsoft and Meta could really even compete. Who do you think benefited most from that kind of like initial AI narrative?
Well, I think anyone providing the infrastructure for that kind of AI was poised for a windfall.
Yeah.
We're talking about companies like Nvidia who supplied those essential chips, the power companies running those energy-hungry data centers, and the cloud businesses providing the data storage.
Right.
It was a very specific and very lucrative ecosystem.
And then DeepSeek comes along and throws a curveball.
Exactly.
Okay.
Founded in 2010 as a hedge fund in China by Liang Wenfeng.
Wow.
They pivoted to AI in 2023 with the goal of building a low-cost competitor to OpenAI. But instead of scaling up, they took a totally different approach.
Okay, this is where it gets interesting.
Right.
They're using cheaper, less powerful chips, working with less data, and supplementing all that with good old-fashioned rule-based logic. And then when they launched public access just before the weekend ending, January 24th, 2025. The tech world went wild.
Yeah, the early reviews were incredibly positive. Experts were particularly impressed with DeepSeek's performance on science and math problems, where it actually rivaled or even outperformed ChatGPT in certain tasks.
So does this mean that DeepSeek has completely disrupted the old AI story?
Wow.
Has everything we thought we knew been turned upside down?
Professor Damodaran argues that it's not a complete break. We still need high-powered AI for complex tasks. But it's not just a minor shift either. He sees DeepSeek as a fundamental change to the AI landscape. A story change, as he calls it. Creating two distinct pathways for AI development going forward.
Two pathways.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
DeepSeek has essentially opened up the possibility of what Damodaran calls low-intensity AI. Low-intensity AI.
It's AI that doesn't need massive computing power or huge data sets.
Oh, wow, okay.
To be effective.
Yeah.
Think about an AI-powered accounting tool.
Yeah.
You don't need it to learn from every accountant in history.
Right.
You can use a combination of AI and pre-programmed rules to achieve great results.
So it's a more targeted approach.
Right.
What about the other pathway of the high-intensity AI?
That's where the old story still applies. Think companies like Palantir, building complex AI solutions for defense and commercial clients. It's a premium market with high entry barriers, but also with potentially bigger profits. So now instead of one dominant narrative, we have two very different paths to developing and deploying AI.
This is a huge shift. What does this mean for all the companies that have bet big on the old way of doing things?
Well, Professor Damodaran thinks that companies like Nvidia,
who supply the architecture for high-intensity AI, are going to feel the impact immediately as growth projections are revised downwards. In fact, we've already seen Nvidia's stock price take a hit since DeepSeek's arrival. And Damodaran has further reduced his valuation of the company.
Ouch. And what about the companies building AI products and services? Is everybody going to switch to this low-intensity approach?
Well, it really depends on the types of products that they're building. Companies focusing on low-grade AI products and services, like those basic accounting tools we talked about, are going to face much more competition now and likely see their profit margins shrink.
Well, what about those companies that are still operating in that high-grade AI space? they might actually benefit from less competition, right?
That's certainly possible.
Yeah.
Their position in the market could actually become more secure.
Okay.
Particularly as resources shift towards this new low-intensity landscape.
Fascinating. Where do the big tech companies like Meta and Microsoft fit into all of this?
Yeah.
They've invested so much in building out their AI infrastructure.
They might be having a bit of buyer's remorse for those early investments.
Yeah.
But I think they'll find ways to leverage both approaches.
Right.
They could easily use low-intensity AI to develop new products and services that keep users within their ecosystems, even if they offer them cheaply or for free.
So it's not necessarily a threat to them?
Right.
They can adapt.
They're adaptable. Yeah. And this could become a new way to attract and retain users.
Right.
What's interesting is that Professor Damodaran is skeptical about whether a lot of the AI products and services targeted at consumers are really life-changing enough to warrant these huge investments. He uses AI-powered features on Zoom as an example.
Yeah.
Sure, they're neat, but are they essential?
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes it feels like we're getting caught up in the hype.
Right.
Without stopping to ask if this is something that we really need.
Right.
Like, I was super excited about that new AI-powered Zoom feature, but I haven't used it once.
Yeah.
Maybe Damodaran's onto something.
I think he is.
Okay.
He sees DeepSeek as a reality check.
Okay.
For the AI hype.
Right.
Much like what we saw with PCs, the internet, and social media.
Right.
We get swept up in the promise of revolution.
Yeah.
But then reality sets in.
Right.
Right.
And DeepSeek is bringing us back down to earth, forcing us to be more discriminating about what AI can actually offer.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a call to move beyond the hype and start asking some tough questions about what AI can really do for us, both now and in the future.
So what does all of this mean for social media? Yeah. That was another big part of the research that you sent.
That's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
Let's dive into that next.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Before DeepSeek, the prevailing wisdom was that social media companies would need increasingly powerful AI, fueled by massive data sets to optimize everything, from ad targeting to content recommendations.
But now, with DeepSeek showing what's possible with low-intensity AI, does that change things?
It certainly adds another layer of complexity.
Okay.
Those massive AI models are still incredibly valuable for companies like Meta, TikTok, or Twitter X.
Yeah.
They have billions of users and generate mountains of data.
Right.
They need that processing power to personalize the user experience and keep people engaged.
Right.
Yeah.
But now there's an alternative.
Exactly.
Okay.
DeepSeek's success suggests there's a place for smaller, more specialized AI models that handle very specific tasks.
So instead of one gigantic AI system trying to do everything, you could have a team of smaller, more focused AIs working together.
Precisely.
Okay.
Think of it like a kitchen.
Okay.
You don't have one chef trying to make every dish.
Right.
You have specialists.
Yeah.
This kind of modular approach could lead to faster development times, lower costs, and even better performance on specific tasks.
That makes sense. What about this idea of replacing hashtags with AI relevance?
Right.
That kept popping up in the research. Is that still on the table?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, this two-track AI future might actually accelerate that transition.
Okay.
Instead of relying on hashtags, which can be inaccurate or even intentionally misleading.
Right.
Platforms can use AI to analyze the actual content of a post, whether it's text images or videos.
Yeah.
They can create what are called embeddings, which are basically digital fingerprints of the meaning and context of that content.
So instead of relying on a user-generated label, the AI is actually understanding what the post is about.
Right.
That's a bit unsettling.
It can feel that way.
Yeah.
But it's becoming increasingly common.
Right.
This approach allows platforms to make much more sophisticated decisions about which content to show users.
Right.
It also has huge implications for advertising.
How so?
Imagine an AI that can understand the nuances of your interests based on what you actually engage with on the platform.
Right.
That level of analysis would allow companies to deliver incredibly targeted ads without relying on keywords or hashtags.
Wow, that's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
But I can also see how that could be misused.
It's a double-edged sword. for sure.
Right.
But the technology is advancing rapidly.
Yeah.
And AI relevance is only going to become more prevalent in the future.
Okay. So zooming out a bit, what does all of this mean for the future of social media?
Right.
Are we going to see a complete overhaul of how these platforms work?
It's probably too early to say definitively.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see a lot of experimentation and rapid innovation.
Well,
the old assumption was that only massive companies with tons of resources could compete in AI.
Right.
DeepSeek has really challenged that idea.
So this could create an opening for smaller companies.
Right.
Even startups.
Yeah.
To carve out their own space in social media.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We could see a much more diverse and dynamic social media landscape emerge.
Okay.
And the big players will need to become much more agile.
Right.
To maintain their position.
Yeah.
They can't just assume that their size and existing infrastructure
right.
will guarantee their dominance.
It's almost like DeepSeek has leveled the playing field in a way.
That's a great way to put it. And this has implications beyond social media. I think this two-track AI future will play out across many industries.
So it's not just about who has the biggest data centers.
Right.
And the most powerful chips anymore?
Right.
Okay.
It's about understanding the problem you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
And then choosing the right AI solution for that problem.
Okay.
Sometimes that will mean using cutting-edge, high-intensity AI.
Right.
But in other cases, a smaller, more focused solution would be more effective, more cost-efficient.
It's about being smart and strategic.
Right.
Not just throwing computing power at the problem.
Exactly.
Okay.
This brings us back to Professor Damodarad's point
Yeah.
about being more discriminating about AI.
Right.
We need to move beyond the hype and ask some tough questions.
Like, what can AI really do for us?
Right.
What are the potential downsides?
Yeah.
And maybe even, do we even need this?
Precisely.
Okay.
We need to be thoughtful and critical.
Yes.
Yeah. Not just blindly embrace every new AI product that comes along.
It's a balancing act, embracing the possibilities of AI while being aware of the potential pitfalls.
Well said.
Yeah.
And there's one more aspect of the DeepSeek story that adds another layer to all of this.
Okay.
DeepSeek was developed in China.
Ah, yes. That brings us to the geopolitical angle.
Right.
I'm guessing this adds a whole new dimension to the discussion.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll explore next.
So we were just talking about DeepSeek being developed in China and how that adds this whole other geopolitical dimension to the story.
Right.
I mean, there are already so many anxieties swirling around AI.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to things like data privacy and national security.
It's definitely a factor.
Sure.
Remember, the AI landscape is already deeply intertwined with geopolitics.
Right.
The U.S. and China are locked in this competition for technological dominance, and AI is a key battleground. DeepSeek's arrival could absolutely escalate those tensions.
We've already seen some pushback.
Yeah.
Like that lawsuit from OpenAI claiming that DeepSeek used their data illegally.
Right. Regardless of whether the lawsuit has merit, it highlights the anxieties around intellectual property and the potential for data breaches.
Right.
And it's not just companies that are worried.
Right.
Governments, especially in the West, are paying very close attention to what's happening with AI in China.
So could we see more regulations or even outright bans on Chinese-developed AI?
It's certainly a possibility.
Okay.
Particularly in sectors deemed sensitive for national security.
Right.
This could lead to a more fragmented AI landscape.
Okay.
Where different countries or even regions adopt different standards and approaches to AI development and deployment.
It's almost like we're headed towards a technological iron curtain.
Yeah.
With different rules and different technologies on either side.
That's a very evocative image. Yeah. It might not be that extreme.
Right.
But it does highlight the potential for a more divided technological world.
So with all of these geopolitical factors swirling around, where does that leave someone like me? You know, I'm just trying to keep up and make sense of this rapidly evolving AI world.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think the DeepSeek story offers a few key takeaways for all of us.
Okay.
First, it reinforces the need for critical thinking.
Yeah.
We can't just take every bold claim about AI at face value.
So healthy skepticism is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Second, DeepSeek reminds us that innovation can come from unexpected places. The AI landscape isn't a monolithic entity controlled by a handful of tech giants.
Right.
It's dynamic and unpredictable.
There's still room for disruption.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And finally, DeepSeek underscores the importance of engaging with the ethical and societal implications of AI as this technology becomes more powerful.
Right.
And more integrated into our lives. We need to be having these conversations.
Like we were discussing earlier, we need to ask the tough questions.
Right.
About what AI can really do for us.
Yeah.
And what kind of future we want to build with it.
Right. The AI revolution isn't just a technological one. It's a human one.
Yeah.
It's up to all of us to shape its trajectory.
It feels like the DeepSeek story is much more than just a tale of disruptive innovation.
Yeah.
It's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
A reminder to look beyond the hype.
Right.
And engage with the complex realities of AI, the potential benefits and the risks.
I couldn't agree more.
The future of AI is not predetermined.
Right.
It's something we're actively creating.
Yeah.
Through the choices we make and the questions we asked.
Right.
And on that note, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. But we hope this is giving you a lot to think about as you navigate this ever-evolving world of AI.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.